So with Restore the Snyderverse being the new popular hashtag now, and the army of fans who are now wanting to see the continuation of the story set in Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's a thing now, and it's going to be a thing for at least a little while. I went back and I watched the previous two films in the DCEU, the first two films in the DCEU, directed by Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, and Batman v Superman. Now, when I saw Batman v Superman, I reviewed it here on the channel years ago, but when Man of Steel came out, I had no YouTube channel. In fact, I had no aspirations at all about doing a YouTube channel. And prior to seeing this movie again, which I watched again the other night, I have actually not watched Man of Steel since it first came out. And the first time I did see it, I fell asleep. I'm not going to lie. I never actually saw the entire movie start to finish. Well, I saw the whole movie, but I was blinking in and out during like maybe the first quarter of it, first third of it. And now I get to watch it again, wide open. And by the way, I fell asleep not because I thought it was boring, even though maybe I did at the time, but it was also because I had just had a big meal. It was late at night. There are other reasons, okay? But now I got to see Man of Steel with new eyes, with the idea now being that, hey, let's revisit this film with the knowledge that we have from Justice League and with the idea now of where Zack was going with the character of Superman and how it all started here with Man of Steel. One of the things I'll tell you right off the hop with Man of Steel is I think that this movie, when it first came out, was very unfairly, or in some ways fairly, compared to the Richard Donner Superman films, because every Superman movie that comes out is going to be compared to those movies. Those are undeniable classics, and really, the plot line of Man of Steel is really a hybrid of Superman 1 and 2. Zod is the villain in both of them. It tells the origin story. The only difference, really, is that Lex Luthor is not in the Man of Steel film whatsoever. Lex Luthor made his first on-screen appearance in Batman v Superman, played by Jesse Eisenberg, but he's not in Man of Steel at all. And because of that, it's a different kind of story. It's a bit more of a focused story, I will say that. But is it as good as the original Superman films? That's not what I'm discussing here. I'm discussing how I feel about the movie watching it now with 2021 eyes after seeing Justice League. First of all, the early part of the movie where they show like the fall of Krypton and what happened with, Kal-El and Jor-El and Zod and whatnot, that was all pretty well done. It was similar in the Richard Donner cut, except this version was a lot more futurized, more technological. Obviously, special effects have evolved a lot since 1978. We saw the first introduction of Michael Shannon playing the villain of the movie, General Zod, and he's great. I mean, he's great. He's great in everything. Michael Shannon's a great actor, and I didn't really know him when this movie first came out, but he's here alongside Russell Crowe, who plays a very good Jor-El. Russell Crowe, you know what it is about him? Is it's not just his facial expressions that he has throughout the entire film, but it's his voice. He has a tremendous voice, and when you hear the voiceover of him talking to his son, especially even in Justice League, this guy is Jor-El. I mean, Marlon Brando played Jor-El in the original 1978 Richard Donner Superman, and he had obviously it's Marlon Brando, tremendous voice as well. Russell Crowe has that sort of badass warmth to him, where he's like a tough guy, but he's also a soft guy in the right time, and a loving father. And the whole movie is very tragic. I mean, not just the fact that Zack Snyder made the film really, really like gloomy, right? That's how he does with his movies a lot. But the movie does have a sense of optimism in it, but it certainly is one where it feels more gloomy than not, because it's a very dark movie. This is the darkest Superman film we've ever had. And that may or may not be a good thing depending on your taste of movies. The storyline for this movie is much more streamlined. There's a lot more things in this film that I feel, not having Luthor in there was a benefit, because it really showed the growth of Kal-El. And one thing I did enjoy about the film is that the first half of it is told in non-linear fashion. Zack Snyder chooses to tell the story of Clark Kent, Kal-El, growing up on Earth, with a series of flashbacks. We see him as an adult with a beard, with a very good-looking beard, and alpha beard. And then we see sort of shots of him as a kid, showing off his powers, learning about his powers, getting, close to his adopted family. Obviously, his father, played by the alpha Kevin Costner, a guy from my generation of films, a great actor, always great and everything. Seeing him here, being this father, telling him, that humanity's not going to know what to do with you, which he was right about, even though his real father, his biological father, Jor-El, was much more optimistic about that. Kevin Costner being on Earth, Jonathan Kent, he knew that human beings, having Superman show up, an alien with these kind of powers, is going to warp people's minds. And he was right. People's belief systems, not just religiously, but also their beliefs in science and, outer space and whatnot, were very changed in this universe. And I like the fact that Zack Snyder was not afraid to tackle that. Obviously, there's a lot of influence in this film from Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan and, really his whole team has his fingerprints all over this film. I mean, I thought at one time it was going to be a Nolan film. In fact, if you remember, way back when this movie was coming out, the rumors of a Batman versus Superman movie were already around back then, but the idea was that it was going to be Christian Bale's Batman, with the story being that Man of Steel takes place in the same universe as Dark Knight. And that's what I had thought back then when this movie first came out. I actually thought that this movie took place in the same universe as Dark Knight. I thought that all the stuff that happened in The Dark Knight Rises with, Bruce Wayne retiring to Italy, I thought that was the end of that character for now, and that Man of Steel took place after. But no, it's a different universe. I didn't know that at the time. Now, knowing that makes me view the movie totally different. So, still, I like that Zack Snyder was unafraid to tackle the idea of Superman actually coming to Earth realistically, because the truth is that people are very cynical, they're very stuck to their ways, and they would not accept him, and many didn't accept him. But Lois Lane certainly did, although not right away. Interesting that in this version of the film, they don't even introduce Clark Kent the reporter until the very, very end of the movie. I had forgotten about that detail. In the original Superman movie, obviously the story was that Clark and Superman were two different guys, and that Lois was in love with Superman, not so much Clark Kent, even though they were the same person. But in this movie, it's different, because in this movie, Lois gets to know Superman first and knows and realizes that he is Clark Kent. And then when he goes to get a job at the Daily Planet, he doesn't she just keeps it a secret. She doesn't she's she knows what's going on, but nobody else knows. So even though Clark Kent looks a lot like Superman, but that was a good sort of ending to the movie. I really like, it was a little bit wild how Zod first appeared. It was very post-apocalyptic. This movie has a very post-apocalyptic feel to it, and I feel like even though Justice League is only the middle part of the planned 5-part Snyderverse, or 5-movie plan that he's talked about, Justice League was a lot more optimistic. Justice League had a very optimistic ending to it, and it did have the gloomy Zack Snyder style, but perhaps maybe he toned it down for that film. Maybe when he, based on what happened to him in his life, with the tragedy of what happened to his family and his daughter, maybe he chose to be more optimistic, although not force it like the 2017 Justice League was. The Zack Snyder Justice League was a lot more optimistic. And this movie, although there is optimism here, is really gloomy. I mean, it is a very gloomy film. Very CGI heavy, over the top like crazy. The movie's very over the top. I mean, the thing that blows my mind watching it now is I remember there being a lot of destruction, but I don't remember there being this much, dude. A huge chunk of Metropolis was totally wiped out in this film. It was so destroyed that it would, realistically speaking, if this actually happened in the real world, it would take at least 10 to 30 years to repair what Superman and Zod did to this city. And not even that, the ships and everything else. Dude, that final battle was crazy, just totally crazy. And do I like it? Yeah, I do like it. Some folks have a problem with Superman killing Zod at the end. But now watching it back, Zod was going to kill those humans for no reason, and Superman had no choice but to snap his neck, even though I feel like he could have probably maybe flown up with him or something like that. I guess he felt in the moment that he had no choice but to snap his neck. I don't know. I mean, it's a spur-of-the-moment thing. When you're in a fight, you've only got a few things left, and really Zod was coming for him. Zod lost everything, and that's one thing I do like about the film is that General Zod's character, Michael Shannon's character, he really was a tragic character in many ways. Yeah, he was this crazy psychopath who wants to commit genocide. Yes, that's true. But he did it for his Kryptonian people. So it was like survival of the fittest type of thing, right? But what he didn't count on is the fact that Clark Kent had been raised by humans and grew an attachment to them. And Clark was telling him, listen, throughout the film, he's looking for more of like a cohabitation type of thing where maybe they could live together. Maybe they could work together, which is what Superman ultimately became. The connection between alien and, alien and human. But that's not what General Zod wanted. He wanted to completely wipe out the humans. And he's a tragic character, but he's also a psychopath and a genocidal maniac. So he's not that sympathetic, but he's a tragic character because as I'm watching the film, it's like, damn, bro, you couldn't have just not done this. You couldn't have just chilled out, just talked to Kal-El and resolved it like this, and he just didn't do it. I did like, one thing I liked it, but I didn't understand it, was how, Jor-El had to get accustomed to the Earth's atmosphere or whatever to be able to tap into his powers. And that was okay, but it was also a little, like, it was a bit contrived in a way. Like, I was kind of hoping that there would be, like, maybe more to that story, maybe more exploration of that, It made sense at the time, but I feel like he became a master of his powers perhaps a bit too fast with the final fight. The sequence where Superman fights like the snake, like it was like a serpent, those cyborg serpent things, I could have done without that. That was, to me, it just wasted time. Honestly, it wasted time. That was a waste of time. That I did not like that sequence at all, honestly. I liked Superman using his powers to kind of help Lois and their whole relationship kind of birthing from that. I enjoyed that aspect of the film. Amy Adams is fine as Lois Lane, both attraction-wise and in the movie. Henry Cavill had the Superman physique. He has the look of Superman more than any other actor prior to him. He's ripped to shreds, and you believe that he is the Man of Steel. And I liked how people were calling him Superman, like that wasn't really his name. He didn't call himself that, which I thought was nice. Also, the General in this movie, who obviously we found out in Zack Snyder's Justice League was the Martian Manhunter. Couldn't you have done something, bro? The world was coming to an end, and he was like pretending to be who he was. And the scene where Superman has X-ray vision, he couldn't tell that was Martian Manhunter. I guess he can shapeshift his dick from a green one to a black one. I don't know, but that was a little weird. That obviously that wasn't the plan from the beginning, even though many have said that Snyder wanted to do it in BVS. That's where he planned to do the Martian Manhunter thing. The plan for that character to be Martian Manhunter was not in place in Man of Steel. But, it was a good movie. It was a decent movie. I would not say it was a great movie. I would not say it was... I did not like it better than Justice League. I really didn't. I thought that it was like Superman coming into the 21st century. Literally. Superman being told from a different perspective. A more cynical perspective. I enjoyed the risk that Zack Snyder took with this movie. I really did. Ultimately, it is an enjoyable film. I would not rank it as being a great movie, though, in my opinion. Now, that's my opinion. There are people who love this movie, yo. I was watching this with a group of people who were younger than me, and some of them have these crazy nostalgic moments for this film. Like, they love this, they love that. And there are some great lines in this film, don't get me wrong. There are cool shit in this movie, but it's like, for me, it did not connect as much as I wanted it to. It just didn't. I mean, I tried. It didn't connect with me as much as I wanted it to. I still like the movie. I'm not saying it's bad. If I'm going to rate it something, I'd probably give it like a B. You know what I mean? It's not an A+ for me at all. It's a B. I say it's a B-, right? I say it's a B-. It's not bad enough to be a C. It's a B-. I think that this idea of Superman being optimistic, I think he was optimistic, but the movie itself was gloomy. That's my opinion of it. Special effects were crazy. And there was also, I liked the the little relationship with the chick and that colonel or whatever, that was cool. And when they realized he wasn't an enemy, that was cool. There's a lot of cool stuff in this movie. That's why I like the movie. It's just, it's not a great movie. To me, it doesn't even touch Zack Snyder's Justice League, in my opinion. I like that one the most out of the original 3 that he's done so far. But, yeah, up next, BVS. How does that hold up? I'll let y'all know in the next video. What did you think about Man of Steel looking back on it now from 2021 eyes? Have you seen it since it first came out? And if you haven't, watch it again. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk soon.